we're going to grade the NBA draft lottery, and then we're going to each give our favorite picks of the draft outside the lottery.
Let's lock in.
Pick number 1, Victor Wembanyama to the Spurs.
Stinks.
They talked about him enough on the draft.
You know,
list.
they were going.
I don't think.
I wish
think
I
we
like
can
if I
say
can't
anything about
No, bro, they was force feeding him to us, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Like, it was like 18th pick. They brought
You
him
got
back
like
up.
2 hours of TV time.
What
whether
killed
it's
me was the
highlights,
Spurs
interviews.
running the clock down to 0.
Yeah.
That was so unnecessary. That shit was
It was milking
unnecessary.
him insane. But, yeah, A+++ pick.
Yep.
We can move on.
Yeah,
It's gonna work out with Tim Duncan stuff.
Might work out with Dave Robinson, too.
Yeah.
Number 2, the Hornets.
This
Here
is
we
where the
go.
Brandon
conversation
Miller.
started
Here we
now.
go.
There we go. Who'd you guys have on the mock? I don't remember.
I picked Scoot.
You picked Scoop.
But
second
the
mock.
the first one we did have Brandon Miller on there.
You see the kind of theory going around that Shams, since he works for FanDuel, put that out to get some extra money on.
No, he fucked me. Because
Oh, yeah, you did
Eamon was
have-
a plus 290 at 3, and he gassed me thinking Scoot would go 2. So I was like, Drew's been putting in my head Eamon might go 3. I've been seeing some reports.
I'm sorry.
I was like, let me put the gambling, whatever, you know. And then Scoot didn't get picked. I was like, it's over.
Because if Scoot would have gone 2, I'm pretty
got interesting.
convinced that
It got
Eamon
interesting.
could have went 3.
Shams is one of the most respected journalists in the game.
For
He does an
sure.
awesome job reporting, so no discredit to him. But that particular situation is fishy.
It is a little
That
bit.
particular situation is
He's
fishy
had a rough 3 days.
because he works
Yes.
for a sports book, and Woj this entire time has been saying that Miller is the pick. And Shams comes around and says, you know what? Here comes Scoot. It shifts the odds a little bit. People now start to put money on it.
Should
It
we
is
say
a bit
Woj is
shady.
back at the top of the game?
He never left.
Yeah.
'Cause no, I feel like that one offseason, Shams was cooking him. We put Shams at the top of the game.
It also rubs people the wrong way that he tweets the pick before the pick actually happens.
I think we're just behind.
No, we're
No, we
not.
were watching
We're
cable last
watching
night.
cable television.
I don't know, because some people were getting it before. Like, I checked the Discord, and they were
Again,
getting it
they were
before.
getting-
Because the
alerts.
Shams, the
And they said they
Woj.
weren't going to do it this year, too.
No,
and they
Woj
still
said he
did
wouldn't do it this year.
Oh, I thought
and he
Woj
did
was
it.
still doing it.
Woj, but
He
for
did it for
the
some
He did it for
I was
the
gonna say
Lakers.
for the Cam Whitmore pick, he's like, there's really strong expectation
That's how
that
they
Whitmore's
usually- that's how they
slide
do it,
stops here.
Expectation.
Yeah. It's like they're heavily focused on this player.
I'm going to give Brandon Miller a B grade.
I agree.
great.
That's
And
a perfect
the only
grade.
reason why it's not higher is because I love Brandon Miller, the player. I love the fit. But if I'm drafting and I'm the Hornets general manager, I understand that making this pick is going to make my fan base upset. And given how Hornets fans reacted to this draft pick
They were devastated.
is the reason why it's a B. Because now you lost the support of the fans. Until Brandon Miller shows you he is legit, the fans are not going to trust any moves you make going forward right now.
No way.
Well, they shouldn't trust the moves they make. With all due respect to the Hornets, they don't have the best track record. I would go a little higher. I think I would go B+ here. I know everyone wanted Scoot. I would have gone Scoot if I was here, just take best player available. But I love the fit. I love the fit next to LaMelo. And even though everyone wants Scoot, it's not like Brandon Miller is like in this. He's like 2 tiers below Scoot. Like I do think Scoot is better than him, but Brandon Miller is going to come in and be able to contribute right away. And to be honest, fans, they're going to be sick no matter what. I mean, obviously you take Scoot, most of them are going to be happy, but I don't think you can make draft picks or trades or anything like that with the fans in mind because most of the time they don't know what they're saying.
The speed that this offense could have played with if Scoot would have came to Charlotte, it would have been beautiful. We don't know what's going to happen with Miles Bridges' situation, of course, whether he's going to be on the Hornets next year or not. But what I envision with the 3 of them is just transition offense, just the speed that they would play with. But now that Brandon Miller's in town, that situation now really gets foggy. You really don't know what's going to happen with Miles. Gordon Hayward's still on the team. The expectation, if I am a Hornets fan, I would believe that Brandon Miller probably gets to start. This is the number 2 overall pick. You're probably trying to groom him
Should
to
not
be
start
one
Gordon
of your
Hayward
guys
over him.
for the future. Sure.
No way.
Gordon Hayward should be your 6th man off the bench for sure. However,
He could win it.
passing on Scoot, this one burns. It burns for the fact that you really get LaMelo. If you're a Hornets fan, what are you looking at me like that?
What?
I'm sorry, bro. You just gave me a look like passing on Scoot was okay.
Nah. What are you talking
Bro, I'm sorry, bro. I just
You're emotional right now?
no, bro. Your facial expression.
No, I was just listening.
All right, man. Great.
Yeah, take it all
I
in.
really regret stopping my monologue for that.
Taking all of it.
Yeah, he's a sicko. But regardless, Brandon Miller, I would give a B Joel, B+ is fine, but there's no way you can give this an A grade just for the fact that Scoot Henderson, in my opinion, is the better prospect. You could talk about better fit because they don't necessarily per se need a point guard with LaMelo, but still, you need to add best available talent, especially to a team like the Charlotte Hornets. This guy, man, is killing me today.
Timing that happened.
Is that a yawn?
Yeah, it was. It was terrible timing.
Bro, we played ball for like 2.5 hours, man. We're
there
beat.
from like 9 a.m. to like 2 p.m., man. It was like a shift. Yeah,
He's not even kidding.
It's so tough because Brandon Miller's a good kid, and you saw the way he was interviewing, the way his parents were excited. He really probably works hard, you know. And you saw the Alabama; he was a leader for the team. He was a great player. It really is going to be tough that the fans are going to just not be on his side, kind of because they wanted Scoot. The Hornets organization seems like they really wanted Brandon Miller. They fell in love with Brandon Miller. LaMelo was texting Brandon Miller before the trade, before the pick even happened, so he even knew that Brandon Miller was going to go too. He seemed pretty okay with it. They were texting back and forth. But you got to give this grade a B because Scoot is the better prospect, but I do like the fit. I think the fit works really well. I think Brandon Miller can complement LaMelo very well. I think he's still a really good player. He can become something great one day. It just sucks because when you're an organization and you kind of have a fan base where you haven't done much, you haven't drafted well in a long, probably never ever, and you haven't given the fans anything to really, outside the Al Jefferson, Kemba Walker days, you haven't given them much as of late, and they've been screaming Scoot, and you go the opposite way. You have to really, really trust your gut in this situation and really believe like Brandon Miller can be the one. So if they really trust in this position and he becomes the one, then they hit a home run. But I would give this a B. I still think Brandon Miller is a great prospect. I think he was top 3, top 4 in this class, and I still think he's going to be a great player.
I don't think this is a doomsday situation like a lot of just basketball fans are acting like it is. The way people reacted to this pick, you would think that Brandon Miller was Anthony Bennett or something. And that's kind of the line that I draw when it comes to the Scoot and Miller debate.
They've been traumatized, bro.
Scoot is a better player, but Brandon Miller is right
Not
there
a
with him.
slouch.
He's
Really
not.
not a slouch.
It's not that big of a
100%
gap.
agreed.
So because of that, I don't know why there's so much backlash for this pick.
They got history, bro. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. That stays in their
Adam
head.
Morrison, bro. I got to keep going back to that.
It's sad, man.
I'm forgetting one more they had.
Malik Monk over Donovan Mitchell.
God.
That hurts.
I understand it, though.
At the time, Malik was really good.
At the
one-
time,
that
nobody
one-
really had Mitchell over Monk.
That one was like you can't be too mad, but damn, what Mitchell is today and Monk is today.
And also,
it's like,
Kidd-Gilchrist really was good in Kentucky.
Did you see his jumper?
It was ugly.
That shit was funky, bro. I don't like. Woo.
Gilchrist was one of those players that he was your prototypical hard worker
RJ Barrett.
that didn't have any other real skill set he can offer.
He was so good.
And you were just banking that he would work hard and all of his flaws would go away.
It was unfortunate.
He was a good defender for a while.
Yeah, it was. Number 3, the Blazers, Scoot Henderson.
Home run.
Fell into their lap.
What are they gonna do with Dame, man? Like it's so aggravating. Now apparently there's rumors out that Dame might stay and mentor Scoot.
That's not fire.
It'd be good. Everything he said he didn't want to do.
It'd be cool.
Is anything can Dame do anything that would make you happy?
Leave and go
Request a trade?
Yeah, I
Why?
think so. Why? What is their point of staying?
Respect?
He wants to
already
be a
has
For
it.
the
Blazers
Blazers
player.
No. Respect to the organization.
I feel like
He put in his time.
Yeah, I think it hits a certain point where like you've put in your time, you've put in your effort, you've done all you can for an organization where you both can come to a mutual agreement that like I understand we have to go in this direction, I understand I have to go in this direction. Dame needs to go in the direction where I need to compete for a championship. My window is closing. I'm getting up there in age. I need to be on the contending team. And Portland should be in a direction where we need to go into full rebuild. We need to finally build a different team with a different point guard. You have Scoot Henderson sitting right here in your lap. So, and I feel like Dame as a I think his ego is getting a little bit to him. Now, maybe not, I don't want to say ego, but his pride a little bit in the sense of this is his city, this is his franchise. I understand that he wants to be the one to bring the first championship to Portland, and that's a big milestone. We seen Giannis do it. That was such a big. We seen the Joker do it with Denver. That's a big milestone, bringing that first championship to an organization. But at the same time, I feel like Dame, like nobody's gonna criticize you for leaving, bro. Like you have an opportunity. You've done all you can for that Portland Trailblazers team, and you now have an opportunity to leave. And Scoot's sitting right there. I don't think he needs the mentorship. I think you've seen Scoop. He has the family behind him. He's pretty mature for his. He doesn't need the mentorship.
But
he needs to run the show.
He would benefit greatly from it.
Yeah, you get mentorship from Dame, you take it.
But would Dame benefit from it?
No. Maybe.
He's playing with a great prospect that is going to.
What does that do for him?
But it's not going to help
Getting
him
more
get to
talent.
the finals.
Well, I think the gripe with
playoffs.
Dame is not that whether each decision is going to make me happy or mad. It's more so what he's been saying and how the actions are not reflecting what he's been saying. This entire offseason, we've heard that if the Blazers move into a youth movement, Dame is going to request a trade. Whether those reports are true or not, they have come from credible sources, and now it seems like Dame is going to stay if they're in a youth movement. This is a team that hasn't made the playoffs the last 2 seasons. 2 years ago, it was because Dame was injured. Last year, they didn't make it. Dame got shut down like a month and a half before the season ended, and he made it clear that he wants to win. Him staying in Portland is doing the complete opposite of that. And I think that is where the backlash comes from. It's like the Bradley Beal situation where you guys constantly complain about losing, but you have an opportunity to go and win, and you're not taking it. And I think that's the frustration with Dame right now. If you're going to stay, stay. If you're going to leave, then leave. But don't be half in and half out.
And I don't think at this point, if the Blazers were to trade, they probably would have traded the pick before they select Scoot, right? It seems unlikely that you take Scoot, sign him to his rookie contract, then trade him after the fact. I mean, it's still possible, but you typically, you see the trade happen before the player gets selected. And the front office is just in a weird place now where Dame is saying these things, right, where if there is a youth movement, he doesn't want to stay. But if I'm the Blazers in the front office, you should be going towards a rebuild. It looks a lot brighter down the line with Simon, Sharp, Scoot now, and future picks rather than trying to put some sort of contender together where realistically, even if you are able to, best case scenario, it's not going to happen. But say you get a Jaylen Brown, right? I think that's probably the best player they'd be able to get. You're not beating Denver with Dame, Jaylen Brown, and whatever other pieces are going to be out there. Scoot.
There's not many championship-making moves that can be made right now.
So that's why even if you do make the deal, it's like you're probably going to be at best a second-round exit team, and that's, I think, the high end of things. So the Blazers have to make a decision one way or the other, and it feels like at this point it's more likely Dame leaves.
He was on Instagram Live, and he was playing
Welcome
the song
to
in the
Miami.
back.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been trolling.
I say this about the Portland situation. The last 2 years, right, Damian Lillard has been very vocal about not wanting to be on a losing team. However, in these 2 years, the Blazers have acquired Shaedon Sharpe, who provides an insane amount of upside, and now you just acquired Scoot Henderson, landing at the number 3 position, which was a complete shock and very fortunate of the Portland Trail Blazers. They acquired both of these great prospects while still having Dame on the roster. Now, I'm with you guys. I can understand where there'd be a little bit of a disdain for just the difference of opinions when it comes to Damian Lillard and the reports that have come out. And, of course, you just read what you see. So I can't get too mad about you guys having that statement. But I still look at what Portland has done these last 2 years. They've only improved the roster in terms of you have 2 young pieces that can be foundational for the Portland Trail Blazers. And let me also add a third because I don't want to discredit Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons, having him on a team-friendly deal, I believe he has 3 years now left on his contract. They'll have $75 million to pay him because his contract was 4 years, $100 million. That started this past season. They've done the right things while they have been playing losing basketball, still while having Damian Lillard on the team. I can understand where you might have some feelings towards Dame, but what the Portland Trail Blazers have done these last 2 seasons for their organization will benefit them in the future.
But they've done nothing.
It's a losing team still, though.
The past
Fair,
2 years,
but I think that we can look at these foundational pieces, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson.
Amazing. But they've done
that's
nothing.
something to be happy about.
Those are building blocks for a rebuild. In the past 2 years, they
Correct.
built nothing but great building blocks for a rebuild. Simon, Scoot, Nasir Little's a good player.
Cam Reddish.
Yeah, good player.
I think it's good for Portland. It's not good for Dame. When
Bibles are restricted free agent too.
When Kobe Bryant wanted out of the Lakers in 2007, he was growing tired of the roster. He said, if you guys don't make a big-time move, then I'm leaving. They went and they got Pau Gasol. So
Kobe and Dame just on different levels at that point in their careers.
Right now, Dame is in a level where he's in his prime. He doesn't have 4 or 5. Maybe he does. I'm not sure in this current NBA with the tools that we have for modern-day athletes. But Dame, he needs to contend for a championship. He can't wait for Scoot, Simons, and Sharpe to develop for 3 years, and then now he can compete. Yeah. He needs to compete now. So I think that's a similarity in a situation where Kobe Bryant gave the Lakers an ultimatum. You're either making a big-time move or I'm leaving. Dame has made that ultimatum reportedly, and now that trade has came, and it seems like he's staying in Portland.
There's trades out there if they want to make it. I know Miami's still interested. I'm sure the Bucks would do anything to get him on that team. So if they want a package, it's out there. But it feels like their best chance was to do it before the draft.
If I'm Portland, though, I feel like what I'm doing, I'm following what our game plan is. And yes, Damian Lillard may be making it a little bit confusing for us. But if you're Portland, you understand that Damian Lillard is arguably the best player that they've ever had in their franchise. And so you probably do everything you can to cater to him while also understanding this team's not where we need it to be. And they've only added strong talent, young talent in this draft these last couple of seasons. I'm with you guys. They're not playing winning basketball. Ultimately, that's what matters, especially when you have Dame. But in Damian's career, I believe he's only missed the playoffs twice when he's been healthy.
Last 2 years.
So I was going to say he had the abdominal injury, missed a great portion of the season. Yep. And then last season, obviously, he got shut down, but that was towards the end of the season. So I believe there's only 2 seasons where he was healthy that he missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So Damian gives you that chance to compete to at least be in contention to make the playoffs. But even this last season, that wasn't enough. They were able to secure a top 3 spot due to the lottery and the luck of that too. But I feel as if I'm Portland, the way that I look at it, I feel like they're making the right moves while still having this massive contract, this fringe superstar player in Damian Lillard on their team.
It's just hard to do both. We see the Warriors.
I agree.
It's very hard to develop your young guys and try to compete. And the Warriors had a way better roster than Portland does.
Shaedon developed beautifully towards the end of last season. We expect Scoot. Let me not say I won't say he is supposed to be great going into his rookie season, but 2-3 years down the line, Damian Lillard should still be, if not towards the back end of his prime, but nevertheless still in his prime. It could get interesting depending on the moves that they make. And then if you have Scoot, who's developed very nicely, Shaedon continues to develop the way that he showed that he can his rookie season. Damian's Damian. Maybe Portland decides to be a little bit more aggressive on the trade market. They go and they make a splash. Now you have 4 guys, and this is a hypothetical, of course. Whoever they acquire, if you can really believe in that, I mean, respect Anthony Simons as well.
He'll probably be gone.
Anthony. He'll probably be a part of that trade.
You don't think that you're being a bit too optimistic on the Blazers situation?
I think I am, and I definitely get where you're coming from. I just feel like Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, great foundational pieces for the future. That's how I look at it. The Dame situation, I feel like, is where I'm being kind.
You're admitting that you would keep Dame, but that leaves no room for Simons to fully develop to what
Understandable. I feel like with Scoot, with Dame, Anthony's role kind of gets harder to distinguish where it is. He becomes the piece that becomes expendable. And with a guy whose contract's as great as it is, 3 years, 75, that's someone that teams are going to want.
Next up, the Rockets, Amen Thompson.
Another great pick. Talk to me, Riv, your Rockets.
Yeah, new and
you and Joel are going to be seeing eye to eye a lot this season.
I'm a Sengun guy now.
Sengun,
I've been a Sengun guy.
You have been a Sengun guy.
No, this was a pick. They got their guy. They wanted this guy for a minute. He fell right into their laps. They had to do nothing extra. He just brings a different type of athleticism and explosion to the league. Brings a different type of twitchiness. The jumper needs some work, obviously, but Ime being the coach makes me a little bit more confident because that defense, that intensity that Amon brings on the other end, Ime is gonna like that about him from day one. And plus, he's 6'7". You know, that size paired with Jalen Green, who's 6'4", 6'5", he can be able to guard people. Jalen Green can't guard, especially with that speed, that athleticism. Him and Jalen Green, that's an athletic backcourt in itself. I think he definitely, OT is something that people talk about, but I think the way he trained was NBA-like, the way he worked out with NBA players. He played a lot of scrimmages with NBA players. He's just coming in for Houston. He's going to be able to contribute day one. The jumper's going to look wacky in year one. It's going to look very funky, but as long as they bring in good shooting coaches, guys that can definitely help him develop his jumper, he's going to, and of course, he bulk up a little bit more. He's a little thin,
a little more spacing in the NBA level.
And as long as if Jalen Green, Jabari find their jumper, the spacing will be there for them. Amon's going to be able to work well with Sengun off cuts, backdoor cuts, screens, stuff like that. I think this was definitely a pick for them.
I feel A's fine, dude. I mean, you look at the Rockets, what have they needed? A point guard. KPJ had to play the point guard role for them when really that's not who he is. He can play, make sure, but he's more of a 2 guard. He wants to get his bucket. But the size that this team's going to play with. You mentioned it, Riv. 6'7" Amon. You have the 6'5" Jalen Green. Tari Eason, 6'7" if I'm not wrong. Jabari Smith, 6'10", 6'11". Alperen Şengün, 6'11", I also believe. Cam Whitmore, getting him. We're going to talk about that pick a little bit later, but this team is starting to come together with Ime Udoka. There's gonna be a little bit more of an identity now. You looked at last year's Rockets. What was their identity? That they were a mess? I mean, that's not the identity that you necessarily want on your name. Now here they're going to be a little bit more defensive-minded, and now they have someone who can actually initiate the offense. Jabari will now get into some better spots. Jalen will now get into some better spots. Ironically, both are the same name. Jalen Green, obviously, will get into some better spots. So I believe that this was a great pick. Obviously, the athleticism, we all know that it's there, but really the reason why this is so great is because they need that initiator on offense.
Amen Thompson is an A-plus pick, and I think this draft, based on where both the Thompson twins went back-to-back, this was a win for Overtime Elite.
That's a
for
fact,
you guys
bro.
to be hyping up these players as much as you were. And it also gave credibility to the league in the fact that, NBA scouts did not care. They didn't. They drafted these guys as high as they drafted them because they believe in the skill set no matter where they came from. So I think this was an A-plus for the Rockets. They've needed a point guard for a long time. I think now this makes KPJ either expendable or a player off the bench, and I think he's always been suited for a six-man role. You have the keys. You have freedom. I think this was a great pick by Houston.
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing is we'll see some passing from the Rockets. We'll see, hopefully a real offense.
Bro.
Trolling aside, though.
Şengün.
Yeah, facts. He was probably the only one that's a willing passer on this team before Amen got here. But I love the fit, especially with Ime. I mean, the jumper, like you mentioned, Riv, that's really going to be the thing that decides his ultimate ceiling in the league, right? Like, he's got basically everything else. He's got the size, athleticism. He can defend. He's a good passer. It's really just, is his jump shot going to be able to come along that would be able to, propel him into an all-NBA type player? But I think this is a great pick for the Rockets. Now, at this point, I would stay away from James Harden. Sounds like Harden's going to return to Philly. But if I'm the Rockets, just give the keys to Amen. Amon?
I don't know which one it is.
No, it's
Amen.
Amen.
I always say Amen.
I know, you fuck me up.
I do.
Hello. But I would give the keys to him at this point. Don't leave the Harden shit alone. I think that's just in the past. Keep this young core, keep building, but a great pick for the Rockets.
Yeah, and that's good. Harden gets to stay in Philly, compete for a championship.
What?
I like that.
Compete for who?
Compete for a championship.
With Nick Nurse?
Yeah, maybe.
This is interesting.
Maybe, yeah. Let's
You know
do
what?
it.
I hope, and I hate this, but if Philly wins the chip, I can't wait. I'm going to talk nasty. Unfortunately,
I'm making you hope for a Harden championship.
You are. I can't wait to go back.
I did my job.
Is that a win? He's going to have Harden.
It's an L because Harden won and I didn't want him to win. But it's a W because I'm going to be on a Patreon one day. And we're going to bring up that video again. I'm going to be like, remember when you were shit-talking Nick Nurse? And he just helped your GOAT get a chip.
All I said was we might view Nick Nurse similar to how we view Doc Rivers if he fails in Philly.
Well, if he gets a chip, that shit is dead in the water.
Well, of course. If he gets a chip, of course it's dead.
I mean, if he gets to the ECF,
honestly,
ECF
Nick Nurse
final,
has like another 10 years before he's in the Doc Rivers conversation.
Well, he's trending towards it if he fails in Philly. Number 5, the Pistons.
I'm back.
Asar Thompson, I gave this
Number 3 team.
I gave this pick a C.
Ooh.
Because the Pistons need shooting.
Yeah.
They need shooting surrounded around Cade, Ivy. Asar Thompson is not the passer his brother is, although he's still a plus playmaker.
I was going to say, I think he's a really good passer.
But he's still not the passer Amen is.
I don't disagree.
His role in Detroit is going to be a lot off ball. In transition, he'll be really good. I think his defense will be really good.
Agreed.
But if he doesn't have a reliable enough jump shot early on, it really limits him and where he can play next to Cade and Ivy. So that is the most important thing in his fit with Detroit. How well can he shoot? I think that there were strides in his jump shot later in the OTE season. He is more developed than Amen in shooting, but that is a concern with Asar right now.
I think a C, in my opinion, is disrespectful. That just means in the fact that you believe that he just won't be a factor on offense. I think that at the minimum, he'll be able to attack the basket. No, we don't have to get crazy about this. I just think a C, if that came across rude to you, King, I'm sorry, but a C I wasn't expecting to hear a C. Just for the fact that how athletic he is, his ability to attack the basket. Yes, I understand that his jump shot is not there by any means. For it to be worse than Amen, that's saying something. So I do look at the plus side. You do have Jaden Ivey who can shoot the ball. Not great, but obviously better than him. Cade Cunningham, his jump shot hasn't been to what you are expecting him to transition from college to the NBA level, but you expect his jump shot to continue to improve. Bogdanovich is still on this team. There's players that can shoot the basketball. It's not essential that he can be this knockdown shooter. Yes, you want him to develop it where he can actually be someone that you could trust that if he's wide open that he's going to make the jumper. But you said it perfectly, though. Transition offense will be great for Ausar. I do believe that his ability to attack the basket, be athletic, just be more athletic than the defenders that he's going to be facing on the NBA level, I think that will benefit him most. And I think that you look at this Pistons team, it's a team that's going to want to run and really get out and beat other opposing teams with their speed. So I didn't give a grade. I would still give them a B. This is not a home run pick. I feel like you would have looked at it like a Jarris Walker, a Taylor Hendricks, get them more players that can impact the front court. But I do look at Ausar and think that this is still a very good pick.
I'm gonna go B here. Yeah, I'm not gonna go C low, but I don't think this was an A. This shocked us. We was at the house. This definitely shocked us at the crib. Ausar was getting a little bit of traction late that he could be the fifth pick. And I remember I was telling you guys last episode that Weaver said he might take a swing in this draft class. He might go for the wild card, and he did with Ausar. Right. I think this is interesting. Ausar is the better shooter than Amen right now. He's not the playmaker he is, but he is great in transition. I think he's a little bit of a better defender than Amen, in my opinion. Jaden Ivey and Ausar are going to be able to put a lot of pressure on the rim, but the spacing is going to be in question. You know, they do have Bogdanovic. You expect Cade to come back and, continue that mid-range shooting because he was a really great mid-range shooter when he was healthy. But you expect him to be a good three-point shooter when he comes back. Ivy, you expect him to tread upward, not be an elite shooter, but just somewhat of an okay shooter. With Ausar, really just, I guess they got a guy that was just athletically gifted. They wanted to put somebody next to Cade, next to Ivy that defensively can be that guy for them on the defensive end, athletically can change the game. I mean, they have Duren, Ivy, and Ausar in the starting five. That's an extreme, athletic, fun, exciting starting five, along with Cade and Bogdanovic. I think for the future, this is really good. I think this is a good reach. That's why I gave it a B. But the spacing is going to be in question, of course. But I think with Monty Williams there, he can be able to develop these guys. And I trust the organization. Yeah,
and Jaden Ivey shot 34% last year on 5 or 6 attempts. So, I mean, it's not Cade, who is in like the 30s, 29%, something like that around his rookie year. But I see where you're coming from, Joel. Even when they got drafted, we said the fit is a little bit strange there. But I do think that the Pistons, although they have a fun core, right, Cade, Ivy, Duren, I still think they're in position to just like take the most talented player available. And, you can make the argument for a lot of guys here, but I still do think the potential, we talked about it with Amen too, all the physical tools are there, right? Like everything you would want in a player, especially in the modern NBA and a wing. I mean, Ausar is giving that to you. He has the side, the athleticism, basically all the shit. They're basically the same player, just with different kind of like elite type traits, right? So I think the Pistons are still in position just to take, acquire talent and kind of figure shit out as they go, especially now that they have Monty. It sounds like they have, a clear direction and leader there. Maybe you make the argument for Taylor Hendricks, who could shoot. It does feel like a more natural fit with the guys they already have there. But I don't mind, swinging for the moon and just trying to get the best player available at their selection. I'd probably go with a B, B-.
Ausar Thompson, part of the reason why I was lower on him than Amen, because I think when I watched their highlights, I kind of was leaning Ausar a little bit. Ausar Thompson versus pro teams when they played before the OTE season in the preseason, they faced, I think, 6 pro club teams. Ausar really struggled in those games. Amen Thompson remained steady, the same player. So I think I can trust in his leap to the NBA a little bit more. Where Ausar was struggling against pro-level competition, which is where, at the NBA level, with these fit issues, that's where I don't love this pick. Okay. I think Taylor Hendricks is a better fit. You guys know I would have went with Jarris Walker. Mm-hmm. I think Jarris Walker would have been the perfect.
Makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, Jarris would have been the perfect connector. Ausar Thompson, he was kind of a player that I feel like needed more freedom within an offense.
Understand.
And not be restricted by 2 players in front of him that will have the ball far more than him. Mm-hmm.
I just think that with the lack of success that Detroit has seen, I think, yes, you're assuming that Ivy and Cade will have the ball significantly more, but with the lack of winning that has happened in Detroit, I wouldn't be surprised if they just decided to let him have a little bit more freedom, but I definitely understand that that drawback given, of course, Ivy's got the year on him and Cade has 2 years, and that's the #1 pick. You're expecting him to be your franchise leader.
I think Cade and Ivy are going to make the game easier for him. I think being as good of playmakers as they both are, we saw Ivy improve month by month.
All three of them are really good passers.
I think those two can be able to make the game easier for them, be able to help him in transition, help him on backdoor cuts. You know, Allstar can learn a lot playing off ball, but yeah, he didn't look great in those pro league games. Amen looked more confident as a ball handler, a playmaker, and stuff like that. This was a pick that was like the swing for the fences pick. Like Detroit was just like, fuck it. Let's just go best talent. Let's go upside and figure it out. We just paid Monty to do what we expect him to do. Why not? So, yeah, that's why I didn't go too high. But I understand C once you explain it.
Number 6, Magic, Anthony Black.
Here we go.
I went with the B-. You guys know that I'm a huge Anthony Black fan. You know, if I'm doing it just from my mind, I'm giving this an A+. Because Anthony Black is my guy.
And you've had him mocked to Orlando in the 2 mocks.
For sure, I've had him as high as 4 to the Rockets.
So I'm really surprised.
Anthony Black is my guy. The only reason why I gave this a B- is because Anthony Black is one of those players that I just wish went to a team where he had freedom, man.
Don't do this.
Where he went to the Jazz, he could just run his own show. Orlando has a lot of talent. Franz Wagner, Paolo, Markelle Fultz is good, Wendell Carter, and I'm assuming Black will start. There is no spacing within that lineup. And that's what kind of derails me a little bit with this pick. I feel like they had to pick Anthony Black, though, because I think Jalen Suggs, this pick probably solidifies that they're not really thinking much about him when it comes to their future moves. Cole Anthony is expendable.
Markelle Fultz doesn't enter your mind of also being one of those guys that they're okay with leaving?
Him, but I'll say it in a minute.
I don't think so, but what's your hot take first?
I think Fultz is expendable.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I feel like similar skill sets, the idea that Markelle's jumper really might never get back to what people expected it to be, having to pay him a little bit more money than you may want to if you're the Orlando Magic.
I think they picked Black and Jet, and we'll get to Jet in a little bit, which was a...
Yeah, that's the one where if you gave a B-, I got you.
They're planning them to be the backcourt of the future.
So I didn't know that Markelle Fultz is on an expiring deal.
Yeah.
So his contract expires after this year.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I'm pretty sure it does. I understand the Black pick much more. I'll move it up. I'll bump it up. It's going to an A now.
Okay.
Because now
wasn't an A in your mind already. Yeah.
Because I'm assuming it's Fultz and Black, and it's the backcourt they're kind of sticking with. If they're gonna give Anthony Black the show,
we don't know.
I mean, Anthony Black is a beast. This guy is going to be amazing.
I agree.
The same doubts that people have about Anthony Black. I remember the talk about Josh Giddey pre-draft. And now people have this revisionist history like they knew Josh Giddey was going to be good. Everybody was low on Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
When OKC selected him over Jonathan Kuminga, the draft world went into a flurry. They couldn't believe it. And Anthony Black...
He's saying Franz?
No, Josh Giddey. He was pick number 6.
Oh, yeah.
He was 6?
Kuminga was 7.
He was later. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. We're good.
Anthony Black is going to be like his fellow 6th overall pick in Josh Giddey. And he's going to be somebody that's going to show a lot of flashes.
Okay.
Anthony Black, he's that
really
good.
I agree.
I just made this grade low because I don't like the Fulton Black backcourt. I want Anthony Black to be the point guard. I don't want him to play shooting guard. I want him to be the primary ball handler in whatever offense he's in.
I give this an A. I also believe in Anthony Black. You know, he likes to take the honorary Anthony Black sign. He can have it. That's his guy. Fine. Whatever.
I've been telling you about him for years.
Have it. Listen, I'm giving it to you. You can take it. But I do believe. Take it hard. I do. I do believe in Anthony Black's ability. I think I think in Arkansas he was held back a little bit, especially with at first sharing it with Nick Smith, and then his coach wanted him to put more pressure at the rim. He played a lot of pick and roll. He was a great distributor for them down the stretch, in the conference games, in the tournament. I don't know why Orlando Magic fans are so down on him. I think he can become a really good shooter.
Because they are so infatuated with the idea that his percentages are not good.
And Fultz can't shoot either, but I think they can play off each other. I think Black can be a secondary and a primary ball handler. I think he can be both. I think he can play off Fultz as a shooter. He can actually shoot the ball. He would show his shooting when he gets to the league. I think his ability to defend is underrated. I think he's a really fucking good defender, especially off ball. He's really good at that. He fits the mold of what Orlando wants to do. 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys that can do a little bit of everything. And realistically, where were you going to go? You weren't going to take Grady Dick at 6. You were going to hope he was at 11. He was at 11, and you didn't even take him. Yeah. So you had no offer at 6. You got Banchero at the 4. You got Wagner at the 3. Wendell's at the 5. Wendell's on a cheap deal, and he's a good player. You're probably not going to move him. No. So what did you need? You need more guard depth. Suggs hasn't shown you anything. Cole has shown you he's a 6-man of the year.
Easy with that hasn't shown you anything. His defense is still fire.
Suggs hasn't shown you anything. Cole has shown you he's a 6-man at best, and Fultz has been in and out of injuries for his whole career. And he still can't shoot. Great playmaker, but he can't shoot. He can put pressure on the rim. So I think Black was the obvious pick here. I mean, you could have tried log jamming at Hendricks, but I thought this was an amazing pick for them.
So here's an amazing stat about Anthony Black. Only 3 players since 2010 have had an above 20% assist rate, above 50% free throw rate, and above 20% dunk rate. That's Ben Simmons, John Wall, and Anthony Black. Those are the only 3 guys.
Good company.
That's
it is good company.
Good company if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Good company if he can stay healthy. I was listening to our friends over at the 6 Man Show. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Luke. And they said a lot of facts. They had a lot of certainty before the draft with their guard position. And now that Anthony Black's in town, now it kind of fogs your idea of what is the lineup going to be. Now it's very simple. Really, it is for me at least. Anthony Black's going to be their point guard of the future. He provides you with great defensive versatility. He provides you with athleticism. He provides you with great size. Obviously, great playmaking. The dude can make some insane passes. But really what it allows you to now is a little bit more flexibility with your money situation. You understand, at least the way I see it is, Franz Wagner is going to get his bag. Paolo Banchero is going to get his bag. Markelle Fultz is one of those guys that if I'm a Magic fan, yes, I would like him back, but if it's on a team-friendly deal. Cole Anthony, I think that he's best utilized as a 6th man. I don't know if I'm the Orlando Magic. If he wants more money than I'm willing to give him, if I'm going to bend over backwards to make Cole Anthony happy to bring him back to our squad. So, for me personally, I think that Anthony Black was the only move here. They needed a guard. They had the 11th pick. That's when you go and you take the need pick. At pick 6, you take best available, and that was Anthony Black. This is an A for me.
We traded Eduardo Escobar. Damn.
It was inevitable, bro. I mean,
during the game, it's crazy.
Mid-game, they pulled him?
Get out. He wasn't in the lineup, but we traded him. Hate to see it. I know you're a big Eduardo Escobar fan, right?
Yeah.
Magic fans were not thrilled with this. You know, obviously I followed the 6 Man Show as well, and they weren't. I think they were happy. You know, I think they were fine with it. But Magic fans in general really weren't. I don't know if it's because of the upside maybe or lack thereof with Anthony Black. I don't know if it's the shooting or lack of shooting. He doesn't have like out of the gym athleticism. So I don't know if it's just because Anthony Black. I don't know if it's because Anthony Black just doesn't have like top 10 player in the NBA potential is the reason why Magic fans aren't excited. But what he does have, you have to be excited for. I mean, a 6'7" guard who could facilitate, who could defend, and the rest of your pieces are already there, right? You already have Paolo, you have Wendell, you have Franz. So I don't think you needed to get in here and, you know, make this extremely risky pick where you try to get someone who's out of this world. I think Anthony Black's going to slide in and be a really solid player for them. And the Magic, even though, you know, they had a pretty bad record this year, I thought towards the end of the season, we kind of saw their young players start to develop and start to string some wins together. And I think Anthony Black's a winning player. He's going to be able to come in and kind of contribute to that. And, you know, Magic, I think their goal this upcoming season should be try to get into a playing game. And Anthony Black, he's mature. He has the smarts. The intangibles are all there. It's just really, like we talked about with a few of these guys, really just the shooting, I think, is the biggest thing that's going to, you know, for one, hold Magic fans back, and two, probably ultimately hold, you know, his ceiling in the NBA.
And he's fun. I was looking at his TikTok page.
Not fact.
He has a lot of TikTok dances.
I saw Cole Anthony tweet that.
That's the type of extrovert they need in the locker room.
Is that what they need?
Yeah, okay. I think it is. Anthony Black is really cool.
Yeah. Especially if Cole Anthony's going to be leaving.
They got big guys now. You know, Anthony Black, 6'7", Paolo, 6'10", Franz. I mean, they have a really big lineup.
Number 7 was the Pacers pick, but they traded it to the Wizards. and the Wizards selected Bilal Coulibaly. I'm giving this pick a D.
So this is
the Wizards. This is the
Wizards.
Wizards. This is tough.
Yeah.
I say it's tough for me. You know what? You can explain your D grade. I mean, people are. I'm sure.
Why you give him a D?
Well, this is a D because Bilal is good. You know, he right now is a 3-and-D player. Last episode, I gave the stat on how he was virtually invisible in a half-court setting when he played for the Metropolitans in France. This was a D because the Wizards, I feel like they needed kind of a swing pick. I think they needed they need more talent injection, and you can say Bilal is that, but I would have either rathered a player with more upside than him or someone that is ready to win now, like a Jarris Walker who can be the perfect connector. I thought Bilal at 7 was a reach. We knew that he was going to be selected high because there was a lot of reports trending this way, but the Wizards selecting him really surprised me.
I feel like it's inevitable that we have to mention Cam Whitmore obviously falling to pick 20, and I say that for the fact of you mentioned they needed a swing pick there. With Cam Whitmore falling all the way, I get it. Everyone is worried about his knee cartilage, did not impress in interviews or in workouts. But if you're the Wizards and you're understanding that we're in the business of collecting young talent and trying to build something here, take the flyer on Cam Whitmore, especially after you just blew up your team with trading your 2 best players. But again, I understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't go D range. I probably would go C plus for the sole fact of obviously he has the upside to be a great to an elite defender, has the size, has the athleticism. The concern is offense, but he is great at attacking the rim. The shooting simply is not there. But I feel like Cam Whitmore, I get it, that you can be worried all you want, but the talent is there. You have a Jarris Walker. That probably would have been my selection for the playmaking that he also provides, allows the others around him to be better, can also space the floor, versatile defender. So I'm going C plus if I'm being kind.
I give this a B. I don't know about you.
You're a Bilal guy?
I understand. They're building an identity.
Just because they traded up one spot, I feel like they could have stayed at 8 and still got him.
Unless they thought Indiana was going to select him.
Do you think that would have happened?
Yeah. Do your job.
It makes no sense to trade up if you think Indiana's selecting him.
Facts.
I gave it a B because I feel like they're building an identity, and what Bilal brings you is a defensive edge. I mean, this is a new, or this is exactly. This is a new. This is my point. Okay. You have Jordan Poole at the 1, right? Now you're bringing in Bilal. You need to build a kind of. I'm not saying build a run. Like I'm not saying Jordan Poole. You build. He's the number 1.
You need a team around him, bro. Right?
You need to build some type of defensive identity. If you have Jordan Poole in your lineup, you're gonna need some type of defense
around Tyus Jones. Let's be real.
Anyways, he's not starting. But I'll give it a B because I think Bilal, what he brings is defensive identity. You need something like that. You already have Denny Avia there, who's a really good defender. Corey Kispert's a shooter. You pretty much want to rid yourself of these other guys. You already did on this team. You have to bring in some type of guy who can come in. He knows what his role is. Like you said, 3-and-D. He can come in. He defends at a high level. He can hit the 3-ball. He can develop slowly. I mean, Poole is going to be able to set him up for open shots. Tyus Jones is going to be able to set him up for open shots. He doesn't have to do too much. He just has to defend, show that high level. And I think, you could have went Jarris here. I think Jarris would have been cool, I guess. You could have went Taylor Hendricks here. Taylor Hendricks would have been cool, I guess. But I think Bilal, with that defensive upside he has, I'm not mad at the pick, so I would have gave it a B probably.
Okay. And I'm shocked you didn't mention he's only 18 years old. So he definitely fits your timeline of, young prospects. But I think most importantly,
see what we're doing here.
That was messy.
I think most importantly, I love the landing spot for him because the Wizards are going to be bad for a few years, right? And Bilal, he needs time to develop. Only 18 years old, coming over France. I mean, I think it would have been not ideal for him to go to a place that need him to contribute day one. Because day one, he'll probably come in and be a plus defender. But his offensive game needs a ton of work. And the Wizards made the right move, a couple weeks ago, starting this rebuild by trading Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, Porzingis. And Bilal's going to be able to come in and just develop slowly. And I think that's what he's going to need because the worst thing you could do is get a raw prospect like Bilal, at least offensively that is, and try to rush him and to become something they're not ready for. I think that's what you saw with the Warriors and guys like James Wiseman, although injuries and stuff too. But the fact that he went to the Wizards, who could very easily have the number 1 pick overall next year, there's not going to be rumors a year from now that they're trying to trade off him to try to get someone that can contend. So I think this is a great spot for him. I'd probably give it a C+, maybe a B-, just because it still feels like kind of a boomer bust because offensively you have no idea what he's going to be.
Number 8, the Pacers. Jarris Walker, A+.
This is an A+.
This is an A+. He's the perfect connector.
Yep.
Miles Turner, Jarris, Hield, Mathurin, Tyrese.
Taylor Hendricks is right there.
The Pacers are pushing for that playoff spot next year. They are. And Tyrese is.
Reese.
We know he's gonna have a breakout season. Oh yeah,
All-NBA?
for sure. He's definitely gonna be in contention. I'm talking about 25-10 from Tyrese next year. That's how much he's jumping next year.
25-10 is getting in the playoffs.
No, he's gonna reach Trae Young's statistics finally.
and I saw that poll you put on Instagram. Very split.
What was it?
Yeah, Loki was.
It was
Loki
split.
was.
It was
Nah,
It
but
was Trae
but
versus
the
Tyrese.
comments for Trae were like, "What
Yours
are
was
we
split?
doing
I did
here?"
a poll and Trae had 70% of the
Oh yeah,
votes.
no, that wasn't split.
Yep, no. He destroyed
Doesn't he
Tyrese.
have Hawks fan in his one of his teams? That's why
Yes,
they
Hawks
rock with
are
him.
one of your
The
teams.
Why
comments.
don't you go look at the pick aside comments to see what they're voting for?
Right
We
now, their
posted
vote is really split. You know, I say Trae Young has more votes. I'm not saying it's not a hot opinion to say Tyrese is over Trae. It definitely is. But he's going to prove me right. And Jarris Walker is the next step in this Pacers rebuild.
like
I'm going to talk about what they did later on in the draft that I also loved. But Jarris Walker, perfect connector. I can't ask for more.
Nah, this shit isn't split, bro.
It is
How close?
It's maybe like 70-30 at best.
He capped.
Yeah, no, he can't.
It's like 60-40.
Yeah, A- pick. You said all the good things. Jarris comes in, fits immediately for what they want to do as a connector, as a defensive player. Him and Miles Turner are going to be great. Mathurin, year 2 is going to be really good. Tyrese is going to show out this year. This is definitely a great pick for what they want to do. I think they want to compete now. I think they want to definitely hunt for that playoff play-in spot, and Jarris is the perfect pick for it. So not much to say about it. I'll give it an A+, of course, because this was just a great pick for them.
Of course, this is an A pick for me. The Pacers needed another guy, especially in that front court that provided defensive versatility, that can space the floor a little bit. And that's exactly Jarris Walker, but also an underappreciated part of his game. And I say underappreciated, but everyone who watches and knows about Jarris Walker understands that he's a very good playmaker. And for a big man, he knows the right pass. He knows the right play. Great decision maker. So for me, yes, you guys hit all the points. They needed that extra size in the front court. This is an A pick.
Yeah, and his build is nuts. 6'7", 250 with a 7'3" wingspan.
No, he's a grown man.
Gave you a block and a half in college. The shooting, 35% from 3. His free throw shooting, oddly enough, usually if you're a good 3-point shooter, a good free throw shooter, he's like 66%, I
Riv
believe,
was
in
telling me
college.
this, dude. What is it with college players and them not being able to hit their free throws?
Just very odd.
Anthony
just-
Black, 70% from the free throw line, too.
It's weird, but
The rims are kind of different in college.
Are they?
ball, right?
Is it the ball or is it the rim?
I think it's the rim.
How sure are
ball-
you?
I mean, the
because
ball's
of the,
different,
because
but
of the sound of it. You can hear it.
Yeah, it's like boing, something
Yeah, that's
annoyingly loud.
Y'all want to know something cool?
I do.
But I also just think that these players are underdeveloped at shooting. That's really the biggest thing.
Really cool.
Talk to me.
Pool shot only 80% in
College,
He
80%
went all
from the
way
free
up to
throw
90.
line.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know. It's just
Well, I mean, years like that makes sense. Going from 80 to 90%.
That's a
Going
10
from like
jump.
I know, going from like if you're like a below average free throw shooter, I think that's more impressive. Going from below average to really good than going from good
going
to
from-
great.
going
80 to
from
90
elite.
is
Let me-
nuts.
90% is insane. It
Jarris
is.
Walker is built like a Greek god.
Yeah, okay.
He's a
No, you're spinning.
dream.
I was gonna go that
He's
far,
a
but
dream.
built
He's
like
a
the
grown
Hulk.
man.
6'7",
He's a grown man.
250.
He can play the Hulk in the
Yeah,
movies. For
he's
sure,
gonna be able
man.
to switch on defense. The Pacers, they have
scared.
a fun young
And
lineup.
this is also their grade gets boosted for the fact that they traded back a spot and
Yeah,
still
got two
got a
future
player
seconds.
that's going to fit them perfectly.
Number 9, the Jazz, Taylor Hendricks.
So I actually wanted to wait to read this news, but apparently there's a rumor that the Pistons had multiple offers for the number 5 pick. One of them, which was the package from the Jazz, which was pick 9, pick 28, a 2025 first.
They said no.
And they said no.
They wanted their guy bad.
They said,
Utah,
I saw
they
our
should have said
bust.
yeah.
Yeah, you would have liked
I
him to
like
go to
you.
Utah.
I
I
want
know.
Utah to
I
go.
know.
Utah has all
Utah,
the picks to
there
do
was
it.
reports that Utah said that they view this as a 4-player draft, then Anthony Black. That was a report.
Well, at 5, they probably would have gone Anthony.
They just shitted on your guy,
Who's my guy?
Well,
Anthony Black.
he's at least part of the draft.
No, he said it's
No,
a
that's a
4-player
that's
draft
complimentary.
and Anthony
You're
Black.
basically saying after Anthony Black, there's nothing.
Oh, they're fucking dumb.
That's what the Jazz. That's what a report said about the Jazz.
Cap.
Yeah, because Taylor Hendricks is on the squad now in
No,
the movie.
Hendricks is.
But
for
that's
sure
why the
not a
Jazz
four.
wanted to trade up, though. They wanted to get Anthony Black. That's who
At
they were going to go.
5?
That's who they
Yeah.
were going to go.
Think so?
Yes,
I mean,
100%.
Black went to what, 6? Like,
He would have been. Oh man, he would have been so.
So
good.
why did they only just trade for 5? Detroit was never taking Black.
No,
Well, they were trying to get ahead of the Magic.
they were.
But why didn't you just trade with the Magic?
Because
Magic
the Magic
wanted
probably
Black.
would have
Magic
taken
wanted Black.
Osar.
I think the Magic would have took 9, 28, and some change.
Maybe.
That's cat.
Hendricks is your guy, right?
He is my guy, and I was
gonna give him an A+.
I'll give him an A minus. I was very happy with it. Of course, now you have him playing the 4. It's not there's no need for him at all to play the 5 now. I feel like that was best suited for him, which is another reason why I like the Indiana fit for Taylor. Because, of course, Miles Turner would have been there. He's able to play the 4, a little versatile. He can defend 2 to 4. But really, you have Walker Kessler there. Now you have Taylor Hendricks in that front court, Lauri Markkanen. You guys have, just the size that's there.
Oozing over Lauri.
Who you are,
Yeah,
dude. Lauri's like that. And, of course, his ability to space the floor, shot 41% from 3. I reiterate it every single time that we talk about it. The dude's, he's lights out from 3. I am expecting and hoping that it translates to the NBA. Utah had a very nice draft. Of course, we're going to talk about it a little later. But, of course, Keontae, Bryce Sensabaugh. They did an amazing job. And, of course, Taylor Hendricks started the night off right for them. So I'm going to give them an A minus.
I thought about it. At first, I was a little shocked. I give him an A.
Who would they have taken if not?
I just said A.
Well, you said shocked.
At first, yes, of course.
But
why?
why?
I don't remember.
Why were you shocked?
I didn't. They weren't. I thought they would go somewhere else. Now I'm giving them an A. Does it matter? I'm
curious because you said you were shocked. I just need an answer, really.
I don't
Like,
remember.
what are we doing here? How can you be shocked? You don't have an answer.
No, I was shocked that day. I was shocked last night. Yeah, I was shocked when they picked Taylor Hendricks.
Sorry, bro. I'm on your body.
Remember when you told me, I was like, oh, and I was thinking about it.
I didn't tell you. I try to keep it a surprise.
Oh, you clown. Yeah, I'll give it an A though. I think the size, the size coming in. I see what Utah is building here. Guys that are big, 6'11", 6'10", 7 feet tall, can space the floor, do multiple things outside of Walker Kessler spacing the floor, but can do multiple things in that wing guard spot. They had an amazing draft, but Hendricks fits perfectly. He's a good defender. Him with Kessler is going to be really good because you got Kessler that can defend the rim.
Facts.
He's one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. And you got Lauri, who can just move around in all types of ways. You can get him inside the pocket, outside, get him in the pin downs, do all this type of shit. He's just everywhere in the court.
He's a man.
And then you got Hendricks. And I think having a point guard there is going to be really good for them when they figure that out. But I think for the most part, this was a great spot for him. So I give him an A.
Last year, the Jazz played winning basketball before they decided to tank. And a big part of that was their front court lineup of Vando, Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. When I thought about this pick as just a replacement for Vando on their front court, it made me like the pick more. I gave this pick an A. Taylor Hendricks, Lauri, Walker Kessler, all good, versatile defenders. And Hendricks offers something Vando doesn't. He can shoot.
He can shoot.
So if he shoots how you think he can translate, then this is a great pick. And
Vando
they
for
can go
Hendricks,
back
straight
to
up.
playing winning basketball if their other young talent develops.
Yeah, I feel like he has a very safe floor. Like, I feel like Taylor Hendricks' floor is just like a glue 3-and-D type guy. And being 6'8", 6'9", they could get really creative with their lineups. Like, he could maybe steal some small ball center, some center minutes for the Jazz. I mean, shot 40% from 3 in college. And the fact that he's 6'9", he could guard wings and not going to be able to guard all the centers, but he's going to be able to guard some of the centers, 7'2" wingspan too. So I feel like this was a very safe pick for the Jazz, but you see the upside there because there's not going to be many guys. I mean, everyone in the NBA is looking for guys that are 6'9" and a two-way ability, who could defend, who could shoot. So I would give this pick an A for the Jazz.
At pick number 10, it belonged to the Mavericks, but the Mavericks traded with OKC, and OKC gave them pick number 12, and the Mavericks offloaded Davis Bertans' contract.
Beautiful.
And at 10, the Thunder selected
They
Case
pissed
and
me
Wallace.
off last
Grant
night.
Williams, you were a Maverick.
The Mavericks pissed me off.
Yeah.
They
made
made
a lot of
too
good
many
moves,
good
yeah.
moves.
OKC. I give this a C+.
You were we were kind of indifferent about this pick.
It was odd.
Who would you have wanted them to take?
I don't know.
You don't like a starting lineup of Case and SGA, Giddey, J-Dub, and Chet?
There was just the chance that Kaysen would have been there at 12, and you don't have to take on the contract.
I think, you know what? I think would have been cooler if they would have had SGA, Giddey, or SGA, Grady, Giddey, J-Dub, and Chet. I feel like putting somebody there would have been like that can space the floor really well. Like, I'm not mad at the case and why. It was just confusing. I feel like with Isaiah Joe there, you know, they got Dortz, they got J-Dub. They just have a lot of guys that kind of are big at the guard position and play a little bit of the forward. You know, Kaysen, he still brings the intensity. He brings that defensive edge, so he'll fit right into what OKC needs. But I don't like. I was just confused by the pick. I feel like they have an abundance of guards. You know, they could have looked for maybe some front court depth a little bit, especially if they're potentially gonna move off of Dortz. I don't know if they are for sure, but I think eventually they'll be able to do that. They could have looked on some front court depth, but they got SGA, they got Giddey, they got Isaiah Joe, they still got Trey Mann there. You know, they got a couple guys there, but I'll probably give this a C+, maybe B-. You know, I'm not mad at the pick. I was just a little bit confused.
They don't have a backup point guard though.
They don't.
And I think Case now could become that.
So is Giddey your point guard?
I don't.
No.
Giddey's a point guard.
I'm saying, is Giddey your point guard if you're the Thunder? He's not.
They play multiple point guards. That's the thing.
Okay. And I feel like, yes, whether what happens with Lugens Dortz, the Dorsey Chamber, don't know if he's going to be on the team in the future. But now Cason Wallace allows you that flexibility of not needing to desperately bring him back because you understand Cason is or can be an elite perimeter defender. And now you mentioned it. You don't know if this move needed to be made, especially to bringing on that contract. I understand where you're coming from, but Thunder really, who are they paying high money? They were going to have to pay SGA a lot of money very soon because, of course, first-team All-NBA, he's deserved and earned that money. But other than that, they're not allocating any funds to almost anybody else. So they're going to take his contract this year. They're going to take his contract next year, and then he's gone. So I think that this was a smart move for them. You trade up 2 spots. Would you have liked this pick better, Riv, if it was Derek Lively?
No.
So then I feel like if that's the case, then I'm firm here with a B+ because I believe in Cason's talent. I believe in them honing in on this mindset of being a defensive-minded team. They were one of the better defensive teams last year. You add Cason to that only enhances that even more. Now Chet Holmgren's going to get back into this roster. They were one of the few teams that had the luxury of doing whatever they wanted because their first-round pick was not just Cason Wallace last night. It was also Chet Holmgren. So, Cason, you could not go wrong. You add the defensive prowess of Cason Wallace to this team, who also is not a slouch offensively, can play make, can get his bucket if need be. I think this was a very good pick for Oklahoma City, and I understand the idea of bringing in Davis because they're not paying anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world either. That he has to play with SGA and Giddey. I think he's be able to play off them, catch and shoot type of player. I think his defense, point of attack defense, is probably going to be his number one trait coming in. It does make things interesting with Lou Dort, but I think Lou Dort's going to have value on the trade market. He's not making any money. He could obviously one of the best defenders in the league. He could shoot. So I think at Cason at 10 at least, you make a good point that they're not paying anyone. So the Bertans contract isn't the end of the world. But OKC also just has so many like staples of their team. Right? Like SGA's locked in, sure. Giddey's locked in, Chet's locked in. So it would have been really hard for them to take anyone here who would have had a huge impact, at least year one. So obviously Cason was their guy. He traded up 2 spots to get him. I would probably give it a C+, B- type.
I would pick Grady Dick.
That fits probably better just because he's the obviously better shooter out of him and Cason. But he's not the defender.
Once again, I'm not mad.
Because if Cason's able to, improve his jumper, now you're going to have a great defender. You're a 3-and-D guy.
Cason's not a bad shooter, though. He's not great.
He was like 34, 35%.
Yeah, facts, 35.
Well, before he got a back injury in college, which was January 10th, he was shooting 40% from 3.
There you go.
Cason's like that.
Yep.
That's my guy.
Number 11, Jet Howard to the Magic. They were not happy about that.
D.
This is a D just because Jordan Hawkins is a better shooter. Grady Dick is a better shooter.
Easy.
And they took the worst shooter of the 2 best shooters.
And he's not a good defender.
They took the worst player.
Yeah, nah, this one hurt. I was definitely expecting the Magic to make a more safe pick here. They reached here. They went upside and really.
I don't even know if it's. I think Grady has more upside than Jet
I don't
Howard.
disagree.
I think he does a lot of good things on the basketball court, and his ability to move without the ball, make connecting passes off the short roll, like he can shoot the ball. So I think he would have been much better because he's not like him and Jet are. Like it's not like Jet's an elite defender and Grady's not like
Jet's not a good defender.
Like the defensive part isn't a thing, and Grady Dick is a much better offensive player. So this one was a little bit odd for me. I definitely go D+, maybe C, because Jet is. I'm not gonna disrespect Jet. Can shoot.
Yeah, he's still a good shooter.
He can knock that shit down. But I feel like Grady, Hawkins, much better players. I would have probably swung for them. If you was gonna go pure shooter, Hawkins. If you was gonna go all around shooter, Grady Dick. I feel like Jet was the worst out the 3.
I feel like if there's ever a time for me to give a horrendous grade, it'd be this one.
F.
But I know. I mean,
F
like
is-
the D, the C minus. It would be this one because this one was the most shocking one to me personally. You had Grady right there. That's what all the expectations were. Grady Dick was going to be at 11. The Magic and Magic fans were going to rejoice. They were going to have everything they wanted. Suggs, Dick together. Oh, my God. It'd be amazing. Jalen Suggs and Grady Dick, bro.
Yeah, I heard that.
But even Jordan Hawkins was right there. I feel like he even still would have been a better fit, a safer fit. And that's what the Magic need right now. They need someone that is safe. Jet isn't that.
Katie's in low.
No, he's going crazy. He's going crazy. Yeah.
Arguing his playoff drop.
Yeah, he's going crazy. He's violating.
Who's going crazy?
KD is going crazy.
On low?
Yeah, but just I mean, KD. You know, KD. He
arguing
doesn't
his
care.
legacy.
He's gonna do his thing.
That's actually funny. Hold on. Just pause for a second.
All good, man. I'll just finish while you look it up. While you look at it. Yes, Jet Howard by no means is a bad shooter. They addressed their need, which is why I don't feel like I want to venture into F. If they would have drafted another just best talent, then maybe, and of course, and it didn't address any of the shooting, then maybe we'd start to have some conversations. But Jet Howard obviously is a great shooter. I believe he shot 38% from three, can catch and shoot off the dribble. I mean, this guy can really shoot the basketball, but he doesn't play that well defense. And it'll get to a point with the Magic if you're not playing defense and you're, it's very easy in the NBA nowadays to get played off the court if you're a defensive liability. And that would be the fear with Jet. But of course, he has the athleticism. The hope is that he can become a good defender. But for that, I feel like I'm just going to stick to C- because they addressed the need. It was not the pick that I would have gone for. It wasn't the obvious pick, but it did address the need, and I understand.
Yeah, that's why I feel like a D or even an F would be a little bit too rude. It's not like Jet is a nobody, right? He's going to come in. He's going to be a great shooter. He's got a size where he's 6'8", I want to say.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's got the size,
Great
and
size.
maybe he's, 2-3 inches taller than Grady Dick. Maybe that's what the Magic – I mean, the Magic have a fetish for just big guys. I mean, their entire line, but we talk about with Anthony
Don't
Black,
blame
who's 6'7". You know, they just want, the bigger of the two maybe. And obviously Dick is the better shooter, but – maybe the 2-inch advantage.
Dick from Kansas.
No, Dick is gonna stroke it in the league.
maybe there's like minimal height advantage, takes over because it's not like either of them are great defenders. I just think
6'8" strokers.
I think the issue is just who was on the board. Like when you had Cam Whitmore on the board, who obviously fell a lot farther than just 11, and you
At
had
11,
Grady
that would
Dick.
have been all day.
Yeah, and you had Grady Dick, who's the better shooter of the two. But the Magic over the years have made some good selections, so it's not insane to.
Outside of Suggs, I guess.
Yeah, but Franz was solid. Paulo, obviously, number one pick, but still.
It's the second pick that always does well for the Magic.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Suggs was solid
Suggs
at
at the
first.
time
At
was
the time,
not
it
a
wasn't
bad
horrible.
pick.
Yeah,
He
everyone
just hit
was
the game winner. and
Exactly.
shit.
Be honest,
at
you
the-
thought it was a bad pick.
At the time, it
Yeah,
was.
at the time it was. Then after overtime, it's
But I remember that the Magic Twitter clowned me for saying that his comp is Eric Bledsoe. He might not even get to that.
Respect him, man. He's a great defender.
He's Alfred Payne 2.0.
His 3-point percentage went down, but his field goal percentage went up.
Good.
Hey,
he has time. He has
he
time.
does have
Yeah.
time.
These clock's ticking though. For Orlando.
Fast.
Clock
Number
is ticking.
12, Mavericks, Derek Lively the second. I
Great
gave
pick.
this a B
okay.
because centers take time to develop. He probably won't be amazing day one unless he's Walker Kessler, which maybe he is, right?
Yeah.
But
John's having a
Derek
stroke
Lively,
somewhere.
Derek Lively is an amazing fit for Dallas. They can finally stop running out Dwight Powell and JaVale McGee starting lineups. Derek Lively fits a need. I love this pick, and the Mavericks all around had a great draft night.
I give it a B plus because, like you said, centers and Derek Lively in college, he came along a little late to the party. He started to figure it out a little bit late to the party. He wasn't even the best player on his team as a big. It was Flip. Flip was
Oh yeah, he was him.
nice, but as a defensive rim protector, he was pretty good. I want to say, like in general though, Dallas did a great job of going young for their front court depth. Definitely going young, getting defensive-minded bigs for them. Lively here was a really good pick for me. We had Lively going mocked to Dallas for like a couple months now, so we knew
Yeah, they were
this
able to
was
trade
gonna-
back. And
Yeah,
still
we
got
knew.
him.
We knew this was going to be their pick. They needed somebody who can bring that type of rim defense, who can deter shots like him. So B plus for them for me.
I feel like B plus is fine here. Of course, I think that Derek Lively. The idea was that the Mavericks were always going to be the team that he'd went to. OKC trading up, that idea came into my head of, hey, maybe that they're going to be the ones to take Lively off the board. But the Mavericks were able to trade back, get Bertans off their contract, off their payroll, and still bringing the guy that we were all expecting them to go, bringing the guy that we were expecting them to draft. And with the idea that most likely Christian Wood will not be on this team, you can't have JaVale McGee in this system be your lone center to rely on. And, of course, you have Maxi Kleber as a forward in that front court also, but that's not someone that really is – you're banking on him to be your primary rim protector. That's going to be Derek Lively now. So I'm fine with that. I think a B+, especially trading back and being able to still get your guy. That's it for me.
If you bring the Bertans deal into it and being able to, have the cap flexibility there, I mean, that probably bumps it from a B to A because
you're not crazy.
This Mavericks team they still need pieces, right? Like Lively comes in. I think this is a great fit. I mean, he's not someone who's going to take away any touches from Luka or Kyrie. He averaged 3.5 shots per game in college. So like he's someone who's going to play defense. He's going to rebound. And this is what they needed, right? I think they've really been missing, obviously, defensively with Kyrie and Luka. There's really
send it in while we're in the
he
sends
the
this.
No, I'm just I did it more so for myself to save it for later.
Oh,
you're gonna hear the whole thing.
Can you replay Spaces?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're recording it.
Can we listen to it real quick?
No, not right now. Let's just do it after the show.
I don't know why he.
Kevin Durant is in the
he's
Spaces
in
with
the
Low.
Yes, he's in the.
Is there a lot of people in it? Did you see how many?
There's
The
over
title is Kevin
12,000.
Durant is not top 5. That's hilarious.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of talent in the league.
No, this is insane. And Low is real for bringing in Swiper too.
Damn. But yeah, no, great pick by the Mavs.
Swiper's lit. He's like kind of brought Swiper under his
He
rank.
might be in there. He brought Swiper
Little both. Like that when it comes to the Spaces, anytime Low has it, he respects Swiper a lot.
It might be cooking Katie right now.
They probably are.
Wow.
I would have got out of there.
Unless KD's
funny,
going
man.
crazy.
No, that's
I heard KD's
see, but
going
that's the
buck.
thing, bro. It depends because a lot of people they like to say, "Hey, but if you ever met face to face with him, would you say the same thing?" So I do wonder if they're trying to keep that same.
Mo
energy.
recently had a take about KD. That,
I know, I heard it.
Yeah.
He went nuts on like, why do we give him the pass? All this, that, and the third. Does not attack the rim at all in the playoffs. I mean, the numbers do back that up, but do I blame Kevin for defending his honor? Not really.
He was upset because everybody always has KD as like one of their best players in the league.
Yeah,
like
top
the media.
top five. Like, but Luka has to do A, B, C, D. Anthony Davis has to average 25 while still being the best defensive player. Like, Lowe was making some. I'm not going to say that I was brushing it off.
No, it was a
He
good take.
making good
I
points.
thought it was a good take.
Kevin Durant is allowed to be upset though.
No, it was a good take.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see what
Kevin's
Durant's
saying,
rebuttal
I
is.
could not agree more.
The actual player. That's what
This
I
is
want.
one of the few times where I wish we could just be like,
I
let's
went to
tune
the
in.
Discord and somebody said based off KD's criteria, Jason Tatum is top 5. So he said something.
I like that criteria.
That fall aligns with I don't know. We'll see though.
Okay, so Derek Lively went over that.
Yep.
Raptors 13, Grady Dick.
Great pick.
I'm gonna be honest. I gave this a C
Ooh.
Dick to Toronto.
because I was expecting them to draft a lead guard. Fred VanVleet's now gone. I understand the pick because this is possibly an OG and Anunoby replacement, and you could argue he's the best player available on the board. But I would have thought they would have went more with the route of a Kobe Buffkin or maybe a Keontae George and swung for the fences. Grady Dick's a solid pick. It wasn't a pick that moved me where I went like, whoa, this is really good. I was just like, okay, I understand it. Not completely, but I see where they're going.
For me, I'm sorry.
No, man, all good, bro.
I thought they was gonna go Jalen Hood here. I thought this was gonna be the one where Jalen
It's a
Hood
fact.
drops down, be
Need
the
a
point
point
guard.
guard.
But the more I got thought about it, I think Toronto's retooling. I don't think they're fully rebuilding, and that's why I'm giving this pick an A. Because
Okay.
if they are, in my opinion, because I do think they're retooling.
So Fred's coming back?
No, I don't think he's coming back. I think they're retooling. I think they're moving a piece or two here. But if they are and they still want to contend, I think Grady Dick is the perfect guy that kind of fits the – if you want to rebuild, he's still a good pick. If you want to contend, he's still a good pick because he can play within each role. He can be an off-ball player. He can space the floor. He can be a solid off-ball defender. He can be good in the pick and roll. He can be a good point guard. I mean, not point guard. He can be a good playmaker. If you're rebuilding, he still brings that spacing, brings the off-ball action. He still does a lot of good things. So I think he fits both timelines. And if they are retooling, this was still a great pick. So that's why I gave it an A-.
A lot of good points. I'm going to go B+ here. Staying at 13, still being able to get their guy. I'm with you, though. I think point guard probably was the need here. Jalen Hood-Schifino was right there. That was the expectation. But, of course, they ended up passing on. Getting Grady, I don't think they were expecting Grady to be there at 13. Brings you some shooting, some reliable shooting to the team that I don't know if the Toronto Raptors necessarily have. I mean, Fred VanVleet had been that consistent guy for them. But, of course, Fred was the most inefficient that he's probably been in the last couple of years. Wasn't his normal self. Don't know if Fred will be on the team next year. Anunoby's not a bad three-point shooter. Gary Trent, a little streaky for maybe the Toronto Raptors' liking, but of course he's still a very solid three-point shooter in my eyes. But other than that, I don't look at them as this prolific three-point shooting team. Now you bring Grady to that, of course. Now you get an A-plus shooter. You mentioned it, Riv. Can shoot off the dribble, can shoot off the catch. Very versatile in his ability to scoring the basketball. So I'm going to go B-plus here. I think Toronto, yes, maybe you should have leaned the point guard. Jalen Hood-Schifino would have been an A selection, but Grady by no means is a bad one. I'm going B-plus.
Yeah, I'm with you, Drew. I'd give it a B+. The Raptors were not a prolific shooting team. They were bottom 3 in the league in terms of three-pointers made and three-point percentage. This is one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. And I feel like his floor is really high. You know, like shooting in this NBA, of course. I mean, you can't even talk too much about it. I mean, it's everything. So I think the fact that the Raptors are going to come in like Dick, and he's going to be their best shooter day one. He's going to come in and be their best shooter on their team with or without your guy, Gary Trent here. He's going to come in and be great.
The starting lineup next year is going to be whoever's at point guard, Grady Dick, OG, Siakam, and I don't know if Pirtle comes back. He wants to be in a win-now situation.
We did not say Scotty.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot about
Holy
Scotty.
Shit. Yeah, Siakam's rolling back to the 5. Nuts.
They traded first for Podol, so Pirtle. Jakob.
Pirtle said that he wants to be on a win-now team.
Nuts.
Not the Raptors.
I guess we'll sign him.
We is crazy.
The Lakers?
Oh. Cooked.
AD's playing the 4?
14.
Please.
I can't wait till Dick strokes it. It'll be impressive.
14,
Dick
the Pelicans
Splash!
Dick
selected Jordan Hawkins. I gave this an A grade because Jordan Hawkins, second best shooter in the draft. The Pelicans need more shooting. This was a simple A for me.
Kobe Buffkin?
Not here. No.
Why not?
Because they needed more of a shooter.
Buffkin isn't a bad shooter, I don't think.
He's not a bad shooter, but he's somebody that needs the ball in his hands.
I don't disagree with you.
Stroke.
Yeah, oh, no.
Boy.
It's butter. It's butter.
Yo,
it's butter.
That man worked on his game.
No, for real. No. I'm with you. You said A?
I'm with you on A2.
That's an A.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
I agree.
I think Alvarado will take much of the backup point guard role. I really wish they move off CJ, but it doesn't look like they will. So he would hold that spot. Jordan Hawkins is perfect to come off the bench, bring you to shooting. He's not going to ask to do too much. He just needs to get that ball off a pin down.
Trey locked and loaded in the starting lineup. Yeah.
Herb. I think
that's
Herb.
why I'm saying. I mean, bro, this team. P said on the last show, another team that had the luxury of being able to draft whatever they wanted here. Jordan Hawkins was a luxury for them.
Yeah, I think Hawkins is just he fits seamlessly into what they want to do. They want more shooting. They need more shooting. They need more spacing around Brandon Ingram and Zion. They got it with Jordan Hawkins.
Now, I'm with you. I'm going A here for sure, like for all the points that I just mentioned. They're a team that had the luxury of not necessarily needing something more than the other, but they could use some three-point shooting. And, of course, arguably the best shooting basketball player in the draft was available to them at 14. So, of course, Jordan Hawkins was the selection. I'm cool with it. I'm more than cool with it. That's an A for me.
You're going with Zion and Giannis? Jesus Christ. Jonas. If that's going to be your front court, you're going to need some shooting. So Hawkins comes in, shot 39% from threes last year at college. And I think it was a good combination of best player available plus the need for the Pelicans, which is a three-point shooter. I think he's a solid defender as well. Just needs to put on some weight. He's pretty skinny. What was his weight? He's like 180, I want to say.
Sheesh.
He's 186. Yeah, 6'4", 186. Does have a 6'7" wingspan, but
it's kind of like you. Got your ass.
220. But no, I think this is a perfect combination of what the Pelicans need and how the board fell for them.